Hiranyakashipu was an asura and king of the Daityas from the Puranic scripture of Hinduism. His name literally translates to clothed in gold and is often interpreted as depicting one who is fond of wealth and sensual comforts. In the Puranas, however, it is also stated that the name was derived from a golden throne called Hiranyakashipu, the asura who sat on it and nearby during the Atirata's sacrifice. Hiranyakashipu's younger brother Hiranyaksha was slain by Varaha avatar of Lord Vishnu. Angered by this, Hiranyakashipu decided to gain magical powers by performing a penance for Lord Brahma. He was subsequently killed by the Narsimha avatar of Lord Vishnu. His tale depicts the futility of desiring power over others and the strength of God's protection over his fully surrendering devotees. Hiranyakashipu, according to legend, earned a boon from Lord Brahma that made him virtually indestructible. The story of Hiranyakashipu is in three parts. The first has to do with the curse of the four Kumaras on the gatekeepers of Vaikunta, Jaya and Vijaya, which causes them to be born as the Daityas Hiranyakashipu and Hiranyaksha. The second part deals with Hiranyakashipu's penance to propitiate Brahma and gain a boon from him. The final part deals with his efforts to kill his son Prahalada and his subsequent death at the hands of Narsimha. According to the legendary story from Bhagavad Gita, Hiranyakashipu and Hiranyaksha are Vishnu's gatekeepers, Jaya and Vijaya, born on earth as a result of a curse from the four Kumaras. In the Satya Yuga, Hiranyakashipu and Hiranyaksha, together called the Hiranyas, were born to Diti, the daughter of Daksha Prajapati and the sage Kashyapa. It is said that the Asuras were born to them as a result of their union at the time of dusk, which was said to be an inauspicious time for such a deed. After Hiranyakashipu's younger brother Hiranyaksha's death at the hands of the Varaha avatar of Vishnu, Hiranyakashipu comes to hate Vishnu. He decides to kill him by gaining mystical powers, which he believed Brahma, the chief among the Devas, will award to him if he undergoes many years of great austerities and penance, just as Brahma awarded powers to other Rakshasas. This initially seemed to work as planned, with Brahma becoming pleased by Hiranyakashipu's austerities. Brahma appears before Hiranyakashipu and offers him a boon of his choice. But when he asks for immortality, Brahma refuses. Hiranyakashipu then makes the following request and says, "O my Lord, O the best of the giver of benediction, if you will kindly grant me the benediction I desire, please let me not meet death from any of the living entities created by you. Grant that I will not die within any residence or outside any residence, during the daytime or at night, nor on the ground or in the sky. Grant that my death not be brought by any being other than those created by you, nor by any weapon, nor by any human being or animal. Grant that I meet my death from an entity, living or non-living. Grant me further that I not be killed by any demigod or demon, or by any great snake from the lower planets. Since no one can kill you in the battlefield, you have no competitors. Therefore, grant me the benediction that I too may have no rival. Give me sole lordship over all the living entities and presiding deities, and give me all the glories obtained by that position. Furthermore, give me all the mystic powers attained by long austerities and the practice of yoga, for these cannot be lost at any time." This was his detailed request. In other Puranas, however, many variations of the boon are given. The Shiva Purana mentions that Hiranyakashipu asked Brahma that he would be invulnerable to dry or wet weapons, thunderbolts, mountains, trees, missiles, or any form of weapon. The Vayu Purana mentions that Hiranyakashipu asked to be so powerful only Vishnu would slay him. Other variations include not being slain by any living being, not any at daytime or nighttime, and not above or below. In the Anusasana Parva of the Mahabharata, the sage Upamanyu briefly mentioned to Krishna that Hiranyakashipu also performed another penance to please Lord Shiva. Shiva grants Hiranyakashipu the boon that he would have unrivaled combat prowess, exceeding skill in the use of bow and other weapons, as well as the powers of all gods, including Indra, Yama, Kubera, Surya, Agni, Vayu, Soma and Varuna. In consequence of these boons, Hiranyakashipu became so mighty that he was able to shake the very Himalayas down to their roots. Ravana once tried to lift Hiranyakashipu's earrings, but he was unable to do so because they were so heavy. The Brahmanda Purana mentions that Hiranyakashipu ruled for many years, more than 24 Mahayugas. So the story goes by, while Hiranyakashipu was performing the penance to be granted this boon, Indra and the other devas attacked his home. Seizing the opportunity of his absence at this point, the divine sage Narada intervenes to protect Hiranyakashipu's wife Kayadu, whom he described as sinless. Narada takes Kayadu into his care, and while she is under his guidance, her unborn child, Hiranyakashipu's son Prahalada, becomes affected by the transcendental instructions of the sage even in the womb. Later, growing as a child, Prahalada begins to show symptoms of Narada's prenatal training and gradually becomes recognized as a greatest devotee or follower of Vishnu, much to his father's disappointment. Hiranyakashipu even eventually becomes so angry and upset at his son's devotion to Vishnu that he decides he must kill him. But each time he attempts to kill the boy, Prahalada is protected by Vishnu's mystical powers. When asked, Prahalada refuses to acknowledge his father as the supreme lord of the universe and claims that Vishnu is all-pervading and omnipresent, to which Hiranyakashipu points to a nearby pillar and asks if Vishnu is in it. Prahalada then answers that he was, he is, and he will be. Hiranyakashipu, unable to control his anger, smashes the pillar with his mace. A tumultuous sound is heard, and Mahavishnu in the form of Narsimha appeared from the broken pillar and moves to attack Hiranyakashipu in defense of Prahalada. Vishnu had chosen here to appear in the form of Narsimha in order to be able to kill Hiranyakashipu without violating the boon given to Brahma. Hiranyakashipu cannot be killed by human, deva or animal. But Narsimha Avatar is none of these, as he is form of Vishnu, incarnate as part human, part animal. He comes upon Hiranyakashipu at twilight on the threshold of the courtyard and puts the demon on his thighs. Using his nails and claws as weapons, he disembowels and kills the demon. Even after Hiranyakashipu's death, none of the gods and demigods present are able to calm Narsimha's fury. So all the gods and goddesses call his consort the goddess Lakshmi, but she is also unable to do so. Then at last, Brahma requests Prahalada, who is presented to Narsimha, finally calms him by singing prayers of devotion to him. One of Hiranyakashipu's attempts to kill his son Prahalada was to have him sit on a burning prey often or with his aunt Holika. Holika had a special boon that prevented her from being harmed by fire. Prahalada chanted Vishnu's name, and in the battle of good against evil, Holika was burned down, but nothing happened to Prahalada. The survival of Prahalada is celebrated as a festival of Holi.